Ted finishing up his remarks. Did I hear you all say, yes, we may? Was I hearing things? I want to thank Tony Perkins and his organization for inviting me, but more importantly, I want to thank you for being here, because that means that you get it. You know how important this upcoming election in 2012 is, and you're not going to let the liberals take this country down. One of my heroes, Dr. Benjamin E. Mays, used to remind the young men of Morehouse. He said, let it be borne in mind that the tragedy of life does not lie in not reaching your goals. The tragedy lies in not having any goals to reach for. It's not a tragedy to die with dreams unfulfilled, but it is a calamity to have no dreams. Under attack. The American dream is under attack because we have become a nation of crises. That shining city on a hill that Ronald Reagan talked about has started to slide down to the side of the hill because of all of these crises. We have an economic crisis. We have an entitlement spending crisis. We have an energy crisis. We have an illegal immigration crisis. We have a foggy foreign policy crisis. We have a moral crisis. And we have a severe deficiency of leadership crisis. High political office, but I know what leaders do. Leaders make sure that they're working on the right problems, that they assign the right priorities, that they surround themselves with the right people in order to put together the right plans, in order to fix stuff instead of to continue to talk about stuff. That's what leaders do. That even though the American dream is under attack, the founding fathers got it right. Those same principles, those same values that they had when they envisioned this great nation with the Declaration of Independence, when they envisioned our laws with the Constitution, they got it right. They said we are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. That among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. They said certain unalienable rights. That among these. I happen to believe they were talking about some others in addition to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I kind of believe that they had in mind that one of these other unalienable rights was the right to protect yourself, protect your family, and protect your property. He called it the Second Amendment. And just to set the record straight, you know, when you run for president and you move into the top 10, you get this bullseye on your back. And people take pot shots left and right. But I don't want you to be unclear about where I stand on certain things. And you won't be confused by some of the garbage that people are going to throw out there because they are a little bit afraid that this long shot may not be a long shot any longer. Well, let me just set the record straight. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I believe in life from conception, period, no exception. Marriage is between one man and one woman. I would have asked the Department of Justice to enforce the Defense of Marriage Act. I have to believe that the founding fathers put it in that order, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness for a reason. You pursue happiness all you want to. Don't tread on somebody else's liberty. Pursue liberty all you want to, as long as you don't tread on somebody else's life, and that includes the life of the unborn. So, happiness, just like my parents received that definition of happiness. Mom was a domestic worker. Dad was a barber, janitor, and a chauffeur. When Dad walked off of that small farm, Dad went to pursue his American dream. The only kind of equity he had, sweat equity. He was able to achieve his American dream. He and my mother. Dad wanted to give us a little bit better start in life, and they did. Dad wanted to make sure that one day he could buy a whole house for the family. You see, growing up in Atlanta, most of the time we lived in what my brother and I called a half a house. It was a 6-room house with 3 rooms on one side, 3 rooms on the other side. We lived in half of them. My brother and I, in typical kids, used to say, Dad, why do we live in a half a house? Dad said, it's a duplex. We didn't know that Dad was saving for his dream, which was one day our whole house and the family here. Dad knew that pursuit of happiness meant working those 3 jobs. Dad also knew that pursuit of happiness meant the 3 things that they instilled in my brother and I. If you want to achieve your American dreams, that is your belief in God, belief in yourself, and belief in the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. We might be the shining city on the hill that has slid down to the side of the hill temporarily, but we are still the nation that all the other nations in the world look up to, because we are an exceptional nation, and I'll never apologize for America. Questions that I get asked sometimes, running for president of the United States. Mr. Cain, did you grow up in the civil rights movement? Yes, I did. In Atlanta, Georgia. Raised in Atlanta, Georgia during the 50s, 60s, before the civil rights movement, during the civil rights movement. I was around when they signed the civil rights movement in 1964. When they signed the Voting Rights Act in 1965. This nation has made it through the Civil War. This nation has made it through the struggle we had with slavery, Jim Crow laws, civil rights. A reporter asked me just yesterday, well, aren't you angry about how America has treated you? I said, sir, you don't get it. I have achieved all of my American dreams and then some. nation great. One of the reasons that I'm on the journey that I'm on, because I want to make sure that our children and my grandchildren and your grandchildren have an opportunity to be able to pursue their American dreams, because you see, it's not about us. The pursuit of happiness, as long as you don't tread on somebody else's liberty. Those demonstrations on Wall Street, they are anti-capitalism. They are anti-free market. And when a reporter asked me the other day, well, what do you think about those demonstrations up on Wall Street? I said, first of all, Wall Street didn't write these failed economic policies. The White House did.